hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in to our Girls Inc. STEM series videos. I am joined here today with Miss Diaka, and she is the Leadership and Life Skills Specialist here at Girls Inc. of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey. I'm so excited to talk to her about all of her experiences and her journey through STEM and how she's gotten here. So if we can get started, I call her Miss D. But Miss D, Miss Diaka, if you feel comfortable, could you please introduce yourself, including where you went to college, your major, and kind of how you got here?
Yes, hi. I'm Diaka, or Miss D, and I went to college at Penn State Abington University. I majored in psychological and social science, and how I got to my current space at Girls Inc. I was an intern in 2019, my last semester of my undergraduate. And yeah, after interning, I came back in the fall semester and I got a full-time position here. So yeah.
Before you decided to go to your college, were you always interested in STEM? Was it something that you felt gravitated towards, or what was your overall experience in learning about STEM as a child?
Yes, I was always interested in STEM, especially when I was younger, definitely in the sciences. When I was in high school, I took AP biology, and that really piqued my interest even more. I loved learning about cells, and I loved learning about the human body as well. And then, well, I know we're talking about pre-college, but I was really interested in the brain, but that was just in high school. But it went even further when I was in college and taking my psychology courses and learning more about the brain. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, when I was younger, science was always something that I was interested in, and definitely in the technology as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So were there any, I know you mentioned AP Bio, but were there any particular classes or experiments or even teachers that got you really interested in saying, you know what, I could do this in college?
Yeah, definitely. Circling back to AP Bio or AP Biology, I remember Miss Johnson very well. She was my AP Bio teacher, and one particular memory that I really enjoy or remember, we did a lab experiment and we were dissecting rats, and I was really scared. I am really afraid of animals, so I didn't want to touch the rat, but I was just like, if I want to pass this class, I need to dissect this rat. So we just pretty much, I remember my group and we named the rat. I forgot the name, but we gave him a name, and we were just like, we're not, you're already dead, but we're here to take care of you in some way, shape, or form.
Just for science.
Yeah, so it was really cool. And I remember my group was really supportive and they were really helpful as well. And Miss Johnson was really helpful too. And she made me enjoy biology even more and really made me enjoy science even more and made it hands-on, and it was really cool and fun. Yeah.
I feel like that's the key in a lot of science and STEM kind of, at least in youthful learning, like making it as hands-on, minds-on, doing, as opposed to just kind of being regurgitated information too. I think makes all the difference. So what is one thing that you wish you knew before college, or maybe something that you thought, this is going to be a huge issue when I go to college, and turned out being like, it was okay?
One thing I wish I knew was that you can go into college, not knowing what you really want to major in, because I went into college when I was applying for colleges, I was so stressed out about what to major in because I didn't even know what I was interested in at the time. I didn't know what I was good at the time. I just knew that I really wanted to do creative writing, but I don't think that was the path that, I really wanted to take. It was just something that I knew I was good at. But I just wish someone did tell me, you can enter college, to just explore, take different classes, see what you like. But nobody ever tells you that. Or at least one person will tell you once in a lifetime. But no one told me. So I just picked a major, which was psychology, without really doing any research on psychology. I never took a psych course. But it worked out. So I'm here.
Yeah. So, yeah. I was going to say, I feel like that's a taking a healthy risk right there. I feel like that's a nice pillar of it. So kind of bringing all of that together, did you growing up have a dream career that you're like, I'm going to do this at age 5? I knew I wanted to do this. And if so, or if not, like how has your perception of the dream career kind of changed or been flexible maybe?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember when I was younger, I fluctuated between teaching and being a pediatrician. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I
You
want
have
to
a
be a
lot that you want to
pediatrician.
care. You want to care for
Yeah,
people. I think that's kind of
I
the common. Not take. Okay, I'm gonna let you take it. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, I was definitely, I remember like, teachers would always ask me, or even adults, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, either a teacher or a pediatrician. And I was just fascinated with the pediatrician field. But as I kept, growing up, I then realized like, okay, I want to get into other things as well. And I realized that, things always change. Your mind always changes. You don't always stick to the one field that you want to stick to. And that's different for everybody because there are some people who are very lucky and they want to become, a doctor or a lawyer, and that's the pathway that they take. Whereas others, it always changes depending on the classes you take, depending on, the types of friends you make and the types of school clubs that you engage in. Then it's like, oh, okay, I'm really good at this, so maybe I should get into this instead. So for me, it really changed when I realized I was really great at writing. I was great at helping people. I was great at other things as well. So I was like, pediatrician can stay to the side. Let me just explore other things as well. So yeah, definitely, realizing that things change over time. So, yeah.
I think that's key, especially and I use air quotes on dream career because I don't know really, because I think it's still just an evolving term. And I think, like you've been saying, just be flexible to what's out there and open. And I think that's a nice little pathway into my next question about, so you mentioned you decided you wanted to be a psychology major, maybe not necessarily 100% knew why you chose it, but just kind of had a strong gravitational pull. But how did you ultimately decide, like, yeah, this is what I like, this is what I want to study, this is what's kind of going to make me happiest here? Because there are a lot of overwhelming experiences, and choosing a major is definitely one.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I chose psychology and I didn't know anything about psychology until I entered my freshman year of college. And I took Psych 101, which is like the introductory psychology course, and I loved it. I was like, whoa, this is it. I think I found my thing. So after that, I was already a psych major. It was already confirmed. I took more psych courses and I realized I was doing well in these classes. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely me. And yeah, I was interested in the field. All my professors loved me. I loved my professors. I definitely was into the research-based side of, the field as well. And I got involved into so many different psychology things within the campus that they offered. So that was a yes for me. It was good. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the feeling when and it just kind of blossoms from there. So what was one of your favorite undergrad classes, if you could choose, or maybe a few, if you could choose?
I have a few. My first one is abnormal psychology, where we were learning more about the mental disorders. And that class was really fascinating. And we were also learning about how different mental disorders affect the brain, because I love learning about the brain. And another one was really counseling, really learning about the ethics in counseling as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about research opportunities, kind of how you sought that out, or if that was something a class you had to take, just kind of detail a little bit more about those experiences?
Yeah, definitely. When I was a freshman, I got into a research opportunity with a professor. He was doing a research on pregnant women and how they view their bodies after pregnancy. And I was really interested in that. So I started to work with the professor in that research project. And it turned out to be a 4-year project that I worked with him on. So that really made me love being in the field even more, because I didn't realize I didn't realize how much I loved research until I did that. So I was really open as a college student to really explore and do different things. So yeah, I got the opportunity to work with another student, with the professor, on that research opportunity. So that was it was awesome.
So not almost, so getting real exposure to the actual application of the degree was something that you got even before you graduated. That's huge. Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah. So what would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions about people in your major, or particularly women or people of color in your major?
I remember every time, someone asked me like, hey, what's your major? I was like, yeah, my major is psychology. People would always say, oh, we definitely need you in this world, because there's a lot of, quote unquote, crazy people out there. I'm just saying what other people would say to me, which is, it was really unfortunate that people would say that. And I'd be like, what does that even mean? And it was always, I love that I can always tell people psychology is very broad. It's not just, helping people out in terms of, therapy or counseling and things like that. It's just a very broad field. And yeah, that was something that I always had to tackle a lot, because that's the misconception people have. And that was.
In any of your classes, did you ever look around and say like, wow, there's not a lot of women in here? Wow, there's not a lot of people of color. And how did that experience kind of shape your studies and general experience as well?
Yeah. Around in my classes, I think especially at Abington, with psychology, there was a lot more women, not a lot of men. There was a lot more women, but what I noticed was there was a lot more white women and a few women of color. And even in the field itself, when you look at it, we don't really see a lot of, Black women counselors or therapists, I should say. And so that was something that motivated me a lot, because every time I would always see like, oh, there isn't really a lot of counselors. And even when I was in therapy, like on campus, I didn't really see anyone that looked like me. So it was a motivation or it was a motivator for me to just keep going, because I want to be that representation for Black Muslim girls, especially who do need, that help, and they can see like, oh, I can relate to this person. So, because they look like me or they've had similar experiences. And even, being in therapy and also talking to a counselor who didn't look like me, who didn't have my experiences, it was weird, because I always had to explain to her, my cultural background, my religion, whatever it was. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, and that's stressful for other girls and other people as well. So I'm like,
exactly.
So it pushed me to just keep going, and it pushed me to just be like, okay, I definitely would love to be a counselor one day, so that I can be that like perfect representation for someone who needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about some of the career paths that students who are in this major kind of follow. Can you think of and I'm saying this again, what would be the traditional career path that somebody in this major would go to? And then if you know of any other students or people in your field that have gone completely different, what's another avenue that you can take with this major?
Definitely school counseling. That's one. Being a licensed professional counselor as well. That's another one. Or a mental health counselor, working within schools, or working in a hospital, or just being a therapist, because there's a lot of therapists that are needed. Those are like the traditional ones. Yeah.
Was there ever a time or a particular class where you were just like, I'm done with this, I'm going a different major, I'm not doing this anymore, but then you kind of made your way out of it?
I would say when I took, but this is not because I didn't like the class. It was just the professor himself. I remember I loved the course though. I took a human sexuality course, the psychology of human sexuality. And it was actually my last semester. But it was a really stressful class and I couldn't obviously change my major. I was just like, listen, I'm already here. I'm at the end goal. There's no way of changing, but it made me
Let's
want to
work
give up.
something
So
out
I was
here.
just like, I want to give up so bad, but I kept going. I pushed through. And I wasn't the only one that was struggling in the class. Everybody else was struggling because of the way the professor taught the class. It was very different, but I think at the end of it, we all appreciated how he taught the class because it was very different and it helped us all, especially if you were planning on going to grad school or doing something else with your life. So yeah, we all ended up appreciating it.
I feel like that retrospective perspective, don't know if that makes sense, but looking back and saying like, oh, I kind of get it. You put me through it, but I kind of get it. So moving forward through after college, looking back, what are some of the leadership skills that you've acquired maybe while studying or in clubs or societies or just, the research that you were involved in, and kind of how do they apply to your work today?
Yeah. I would say, because I was in a lot of different clubs, definitely in undergrad, but I would say just communicating with, your team members and really making sure that everybody's great, really working well in a group. I love working in groups and really being able to take that initiative to just make sure that everything is smooth and everything is going well. And being a support, because I'm a huge advocate for supporting people, especially if you see potential and you see that they can do well as in the group, being that support, being that guide, and really just being yourself as well. I think that's definitely a skill that I gained, really just being me. And bringing that to the table because everybody is unique in their own ways, and that's needed. So all of that I got from undergrad, I brought it into here, and I think it has helped me a lot. And I've also seen myself grow even more in this world. So
yeah. Absolutely. And looking back, maybe even before you started college or any time in college, what is one thing that you wish young Miss D knew before or during? I'm going to rephrase that. What is one thing that you wish you could tell your college self about now? Like look at kind of a look at me now moment. Oh, I'm just hitting my table.
I would say ditch the plans that you have. Don't ditch all of them, but just try not to rely on the plans that you have because plans don't always work. And you're going to constantly keep planning your life. You're going to constantly keep planning, and you're going to get disappointed because, that's not the pathway that life will take you. So just be prepared, but also be flexible as well and accept the change that comes along the way because that's going to be really crucial. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have a couple of questions to kind of finish up here. All right, I'm trying to think of where exactly I want to take it next, but I think I got it. Okay. So as you continue on through, postgraduate life, how do you commit yourself to staying a lifelong learner, especially through the lens of STEM?
Yeah, I am obsessed with reading, so I really use my time to just read all the time. I love to really engage in like puzzles and, really getting my mind working a lot, like just doing random, games that will stimulate my mind. So that's how I like to do things and also do some experiments with my students. So that helps me a lot too.
Yes. So what is one thing, if anything, that you would change about your major? Is there something that you think should have been included, shouldn't have been included, different class, different workload? Is there anything that you would change about your major?
I wouldn't change anything. I think my major was perfect just the way it was, which is why I loved it, which is why I did so well during undergrad. So I wouldn't really change anything about it. It would just be the same.
So on that note, what would you wish future students who are looking to study psychology either know about the field, know before they get into undergrad? What's one thing you wish they knew?
Just have an open mind. Before going into college, of course, just make sure you do your research. Don't be like me and just choose a major and then be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just wing it. Do your research, but also just, it's a field where you do need to, you know, be open-minded and really just accept what is about to come, because there's a lot of things you're going to learn about yourself in this field. And a lot of the values and morals that you've learned at home are also going to be, you know, tested while you're taking classes in this field. So just make sure you're ready, you're open-minded, and you're taking a lot of notes, because you'll be writing a lot of essays.
I feel like that's the key takeaway, if nothing else,
Yes.
right? Get ready to write.
Yes.
All right. And so finally, why is it important for girls to get into STEM, into this field? Why should girls, you know, kind of jump into this field?
Because girls are interested in this field, and there's girls who are always told to go into other traditional fields, like you should just do, you know, teaching or whatever it is. But, you know, when I was teaching STEM gems, I realized girls are really interested in this field. They love STEM, and even both features. They love, you know, getting their, like, they love doing hands-on activities. They love, you know, thinking about, you know, how to solve problems within, you know, the STEM experiments and things like that. So it's so important as like adults to just, you know, encourage them as much as possible and give them so many opportunities so that they can excel and succeed in the field and go into the field even further down the line. Even outside of Girls Inc., to just go do more STEM things or STEM opportunities, but they're already in it. So you can't stop them from going in, you know, you've got to just open the door and give them more opportunities and let them shine their own way.
Yeah. Door after door. I love that.
Yes.
So is there anything that you're like, Sarah, you didn't ask me this and I've been dying to get it off my chest, or one last piece of anything? If it's okay, if not, I'm just open floor pretty much for this next time.
No, I have nothing else to say. I think you covered it all.
All right. You're like, nope, I got it. You interviewed me. All right. Well, Miss Diaka, thanks so much for doing this and allowing me to kind of learn more about you and just this experience, and kind of your STEM brain helped me a lot too. And you know what? I'm going to ask you some questions about some psychology books that I can read, because I gotta get this brain right quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody, thank you so much for watching another one of our Girls Inc. STEM series videos. I am Miss Sarah and this is Miss Diaka, and we are encouraging all of you to stay strong, smart, and bold. Thanks, everyone.